Welcome to this webinar about using cell phones while living abroad. A phone usually ends up being one of the first things you set up when you arrive abroad. It will be useful when looking for an apartment or getting settled around town and communicating with the people you meet at orientation and at your school. In this webinar, we're going to go over the common options for using a cell phone abroad. One important thing to consider when choosing the best option for you is how many calls you think you'll make. Are you more of a caller or a texter? Is it more important to be able to send a text or to use data? Many countries outside the US now prefer to use internet messaging apps instead of texting, so you might find data to be valuable. On the other hand, if Wi-Fi is readily available, you can use the internet messaging apps when you have Wi-Fi and then not bother to pay for a plan with data. Be realistic about what you will use. If you go over your limit on your plan, the charges can be very expensive. Our first recommendation when going abroad would be to buy a phone and get a corresponding service in your host country. This is usually the simplest option, and it can be very cheap depending on what kind of phone you get abroad. This is what I personally used when I lived abroad, since I didn't mind having a simple Nokia for calling and texting, and I used my American smartphone as a tablet when Wi-Fi was available. If you buy a phone while abroad, you face the decision of buying a smartphone or buying a simple phone for calling and texting. If you choose to buy a simple phone, you can still use your American smartphone when Wi-Fi is available. American smartphones can be used as tablets when you have Wi-Fi, even if they're not enabled for international calling. In either of these situations, smartphones are great tools for travelers. The next good option when you go abroad is to unlock your American phone and get a SIM card when you arrive in your host country that you can put in your phone. You should call your cell phone company to find out if you can unlock your cell phone, if it will work abroad, and if it is compatible with new SIM cards. One of the most important things to remember when unlocking your phone is to make sure it will work abroad. Usually this means it needs to be GSM capable. GSM is the radio band used by most phone networks around the world. Verizon and Sprint have a different network called CDMA, and it might not work abroad. However, that's not always the case. AT&T and T-Mobile are both GSM networks, meaning phones from these companies are usually a safe bet to work abroad. Or, an easy way to look at it, if your phone uses a SIM card, it's probably GSM or GSM capable. If there is no SIM card in your phone, it will not work abroad. If you have a cell phone that is GSM capable and has a SIM card, you can make sure that it's unlocked and then use your original phone when you go abroad and get foreign phone service. Make sure you contact your wireless provider and find out if your phone is GSM capable, whether it has a SIM card, and whether it is unlocked. Verizon works on a different network than the GSM Global Phone Network, but your phone may be GSM capable. You should contact Verizon Wireless customer support and tell them you'll be living abroad and you want to know if your phone will work and if it's GSM capable. They can run your number and also tell you whether your phone is unlocked. Not all Verizon phones are GSM capable. Also, if your phone is still locked, you will not be able to put another SIM card in it, even if it is GSM capable. So it is just as important to make sure your phone is unlocked. AT&T is a GSM network, so phones from this company will work abroad. If you want to get a foreign SIM card, you should check and make sure your phone is unlocked. You can check out their website to figure out if your phone is locked or unlocked, and to check their travel guide to make sure it will work internationally. If your current device won't work, then you can always check your upgrade options to get a device that will operate on an international network frequency. Usually, T-Mobile's phones are unlocked and GSM capable. You should call your customer service to make sure your phone is unlocked, or else you will not be able to use a new SIM card. To use your phone outside the U.S. with Sprint, you should try and contact Sprint customer support or to contact them on their website. Usually, you will not be able to use Sprint phones abroad. You can only use your phone with a Sprint provider, and Sprint phones are generally locked. Again, if you want to use your current phone abroad, check with your cell phone company to make sure that your phone is unlocked, internationally compatible, and that it has a SIM card. Some people whose phones are locked consider jailbreaking their phones. Jailbreaking is a way to force your phone to be unlocked. While this may allow your phone to be used abroad, we don't recommend it since it will break your warranty on your contract with your current cell phone provider, and it could impact your service with that provider when you return home. For either unlocking your phone or buying a phone abroad, you will need to choose what kind of service you prefer. You have the choice of getting a contract or choosing a pay-as-you-go option. Some good things to keep in mind about getting a contract are, contracts are usually the best way to get data, and if you plan to buy a smartphone abroad, a contract is usually the cheapest way. However, a contract is a commitment that you might not want. Some contracts may only be available for periods of time that are longer than the time you'll be in the foreign country. Also, you may first need to set up a foreign bank account or get your residency card in order to get a contract. This can be a more complicated option. On the other hand, a pay-as-you-go option is usually the cheapest, especially if you don't want to get data. Often in other countries, you can add money to your phone for pay-as-you-go plans in many convenient places, such as grocery stores, phone stores, online, or at special phone machines. Keep in mind that data may or may not be available on pay-as-you-go plans. When choosing which foreign cell phone company to use while abroad, make sure to read the fine print. If you plan on traveling to other countries, will your new phone service work there or only in your host country? Also, who pays for calls and messages? It's interesting to note that in many countries, whoever makes the call pays for the call. The receiver might not pay anything. So make sure to understand who pays for the calls, the caller, the receiver, or both. The last option for using a cell phone abroad is to sign up for an international plan with your cell phone company. We do not recommend this option as it is usually very expensive. Make sure to check the fine print. Will the cost of the plan be in addition to your monthly bill? Will your voicemail be available while abroad? Don't forget to deactivate your data if it is not included in your international plan, since data roaming charges can be immense. I will quickly mention some of the details about international plans through a few phone companies, but make sure to check with your cell phone company for the most accurate information. First is Verizon. Currently, Verizon offers 2 international plans, which would be an additional cost to your monthly bill, and it can get expensive. One option costs about $25 per month, and it has a rate for calling and texts. The second option costs about $40 per month, and it includes a certain number of calling minutes and texts. Verizon also offers a pay-as-you-go plan, which can get expensive quickly, and it is in addition to your normal monthly fees. If you decide to sign up for any of these international services, you can go online to Manage International Services on the My Verizon homepage, or call a customer service representative. And make sure to read their international service terms and conditions, because if you do not set it up properly, you could be charged additional fees or find out that your phone will not work the way you expected. AT&T offers a few different international plans. These packages are also an additional cost on top of whatever monthly charges you currently pay. To get these international rates, you should call AT&T before leaving and have them add the international package to your plan. It is possible to have them add the plan when you're abroad, but it's a better idea to get it set up before going abroad. Their international plans start at about $30 per month on top of your monthly bill. Customers can also use their phones abroad without a plan roaming, but it can get expensive quickly, especially with data usage. Data roaming can be almost $20 per megabyte of data. Don't make this mistake. I have, and it got very expensive very quickly. Also, if you choose this option, it's good to remember that most of the time AT&T will set these plans to expire automatically when you're home. However, you should always double check to make sure you're not still paying for it after you get back. T-Mobile offers a short-term international plan. The Simple Choice plan costs $50 and it can be used for up to a month with unlimited text, 2 gigabytes of data, and a per-minute calling rate. It works anywhere outside of the U.S., and if you use this plan longer than a month, large fees will apply. If you currently have T-Mobile, your best option would be to unlock your phone and get service abroad. While Sprint offers international roaming rates, they do not have international plans. If you currently have Sprint, it would probably be best for you to just get a new phone when you go abroad. No matter what you choose for calling within your host country, calling and messaging internationally is a whole other issue. Our best recommendation by far is to use internet services and apps such as Skype, WhatsApp, WeChat, etc. Calling or texting outside of whatever country you're in on your phone could be incredibly expensive, so it's better to keep in touch with your family and friends at home by using internet services for free. All right, here are some final thoughts you should keep in mind when deciding what cell phone service will work best for you. Research what kind of communication is popular in your host country. In many countries, internet messaging apps are now more popular than texting or calling, since they're free when you use the internet. Also, in some countries, you're charged calling rates to access your voicemail, so people might not usually leave voicemails. Always read the fine print for whatever service you sign up for. You don't want any cell phone bill surprises. Be realistic about what you will use and what you will need when living abroad. You don't want to pay for services you aren't using, but you also don't want to pay overage charges if you exceed your limits. And lastly, it's important to remember that smartphones are a fantastic tool for travelers, as translators, for maps, as a camera, and for internet messaging. But be sure to consider if paying for data is right for you, or if you only will need to use Wi-Fi. Thank you for joining us, and remember that everyone is different, and a different plan may be best for different people. Happy traveling!